What's going on, you guys? It's your boy 360 Stacks in this thing, baby, representing TKOG. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my variants on the combos that you can perform with the Labyrinth deck. I'm going to show you guys some really clutch and key interactions, some ways that you can establish infinite, this deck does it so well, and just how you can checkmate any deck in the game. This deck is able to navigate through so many disruptions, and it has very different and unique variants to the way that you can build it. And on top of that, it is also not, it's not susceptible to the same disruptions other decks are. It does lose to weirder cards that are not as popular and not as good against other decks. And yeah, I just did an entire video as a discussion and deck profile just talking about this deck, so definitely check that video out. You'll learn so much more in that. In this video, I'm just going to show you guys like more or less like the card's performance in action and what the deck can actually do once it gets its engine rolling, and how like you're able to navigate or even circumvent certain cards from being proactive against your engine. So yeah, I think I'm going to start off like really big with some crazy combos. This deck doesn't have like one card combos. It has one card snowballs, which can get you into disruptions like Ariana. If she resolves and you're able to like maintain stability, she will eventually turn into like so many different things. So I'm going to show you guys how you can get like hand loop for 2 plus full combo with the Unchained cards. I'm going to show you guys how you can obviously set any trap from your deck to your field directly and also activate at the same turn. I'll show you guys how you can turn 0 Eradicator people. Yeah, just a lot of cool things that they can do. How to beat Ashen Bell specifically are probably going to be like the most necessary combos and vital for you to play this strategy. So there's going to be a lot of things that I implement from my knowledge and experience of playing this deck, but let's get into it. We'll start off with literally just talking about this, So if you want to snowball with Ariana and you have nothing else, there's multiple ways that you can do this. You can normal Ariana and then get Big Welcome. The reason why you get Big Welcome as opposed to Welcome, even though it does get you like a bit of advantage, is that Big Welcome will bounce your Ariana, which means you guarantee follow-up no matter what happens to your boards. If you just grab her, add Big Welcome, flip it, summon out your girl, bounce your Ariana, you're good to go. If you want to snowball even further, and now like economically this is crazy because this is essentially like a +2. Your Ariana is back in your hand where she belongs. This is going to take apart a card from your opponent, so you can hand loop for 1. You have Big Engrave for not only follow-up, but also a potential crackback if you need to use it to scope what your opponent's disruptions are going to do to you. It's a really good card just to check what's going on, especially in the back row. If you want to get the literal maximum advantage that you can get while she's still up, you can summon like a card like Stovey Torby, bounce it, and then use its effect to set Welcome Labyrinth, which will get another trap in rotation, but you're playing too far behind and you're not doing anything to your opponent yet. So what happens when you pair an additional card with Ariana? We'll talk about all of the different interactions with Ariana specifically, including with the brick. We'll try and make it really fast. And we'll try our best to show as much as we can. We're probably not going to be able to show literally everything in this video, but we are going to be able to show a pretty decent amount. So I'll go ahead and grab the cards that are necessary for these combo sequences that we're going to be talking about. And yeah, let's see. Bop. And that just saves us a lot of time. Saves you guys some time too. There we are. So let's go and upgrade Ariana to pair her. Ariana paired with so many cards makes her very obnoxious. And this card is not susceptible to Ash at all because Ash is always used on your traps. So you only have to worry about Effect Veiler and Impermanence. And you only have to worry about those cards if you're summoning them directly on your turn. If you summon this card on your opponent's turn, the only card hand trap that actually works on it is Ghost Mourner, like to interact with it. They won't be able to Veiler because it's their turn, and they won't be able to Imperm because often they will control cards unless like the Imperm is already face down. So there's a lot of ways that you could secure the bag safely. But if we just pair Cool Clock with Ariana, that same turn 1 combo now becomes like you're able to essentially skip the clock with Labyrinth, and you don't play it as a conventional trap deck. So because the tempo is able to be elevated to such a degree, you are not really playing a trap deck, and your back rows that you set actually can be used to combat boards going second, as opposed to waiting for your opponent's turn and like passing back priority, which is really, really cool. So if you pair Ku Klok into that same combo, now you can activate Big Welcome. And you can still, this is essentially like hand loop for 2, which you will see. You'll summon your Silver Castle, bounce your Ariana, trigger her effect to pop a card in your opponent's hand. You can set the big off of her effect. And during your opponent's draw phase, you can go ahead and big again. And what you'll do off of your big, there's so many different ways that you can do this. What I like to do is I like to summon a furniture because we have Ku Klok engraved. So you could just like immediately get into like a card like Arius, and then Arius to summon the Ariana and still get the Stovey Torby anyways if you want to get more cards and resources into like rotation. So you could big directly for Stovey Torby, bounce it, and trigger Lovely. So that's hand loop for 2. This is just a 2-card combo, which is really powerful. This is going to do so many different things, and it's low committal. So you're going to be able to then, on like the crackback, like whenever you feel like it actually, you could Stovey Torby pitching the Ariana, set yourself a regular welcome, new chain Ku Klok, add it, pitch it, and then you can activate that welcome and keep playing on your opponent's turn. Which you can also do to maximize your resources and like how much lab cards you see immediately is, instead of summoning Stovey Torby and bouncing it, you can actually summon Arius and bounce it, which gives you insane pressure through hand traps, disruptions, negates, etc. And what ends up happening now is like you still rip 2 from your opponent's hand. Like hand looping in this deck is crazy. That this is a trap deck that can hand loop. Like it's a combo deck that can hand loop. You can Arius it whenever you want. Summon the Ariana, get Ariana's effect. To still grab the same Stovey Torby, you'll have to discard a random card in your hand this time, and you can set your welcome. New chain Ku Klok, pitch the Ku Klok, and that will allow you to activate the welcome whenever you want to. And the welcome can summon a myriad of different things, whatever you feel is necessary. If you feel like the back rows you have are good enough to defend you and maintain stability, then you can summon Chandelier and just get full access to your engine, because the furnitures can be sent from header field to grave. So you can pitch Chandelier and another card if you have it, only if you have it. And the last card that you can set is going to be pretty powerful. You can set Labyrinth Setup, and this is how you maximize your advantage off of this 2-card combo. You get Chandelier, Ku Klok, Stovey Torby, and Arius, and both the welcome traps into rotation while hand looping for 2, just off of Ariana and Ku Klok. And this is only on your opponent's turn. So by turn 3, you'll be able to like Labyrinth Setup, which is kind of crazy. You can big welcome to bounce a card if you need to trigger her, just to clear cards. And like what's cool economically as well is, even if you don't Labyrinth Setup right away, when you big welcome to bounce one of their monsters, you get a myriad of cards like in chain reaction. So this is where the snowballing of this effect happens, like this deck happens, and where like it really does outgrind everything in the format currently right now, in my opinion. So this is always the highest in the chain link to prevent cards like Bell and Ash specifically. Crows and like Bestials can still be chained, but what happens is you're gonna get chainlink 1 Stovey Torby, chainlink 2 Chandelier, chainlink 3 Welcome, chainlink 4 Ariana, and chainlink 5 Lady. Lovely. And if they respond to her, which is the only card they can respond directly to, you can chain Arius and summon him, and you'll still get all the remaining of these cards to summon this, add this to hand, and set this, and draw a random card, which is very, very, very powerful. And she will, in turn, instead of popping the card you want, will still take a card from your opponent. And that's what Lovely is always going to consistently do, is as you establish and just continually apply pressure, she's going to continually drain resources from your opponent while incrementally giving them back to you. So the deck does a lot of take to give, which is really good. But if they don't respond to her, you're not going to immediately threaten them with like double Chaos Angel, because this is a double Chaos Angel line, which is why this deck's crackback is just so absurd. But just big welcoming just to do all of this and draw that random is really, really nuts. The welcome is set. You can Stovey Torby pitching itself in the random draw that you get off of your Ariana. And this is where your field spell comes into place. Set it and activate it. And now you are essentially golden. You have everything that you want. Minus Silver Castle, but she's coming very, very soon. Minus Lovely, but she's coming like very, very soon. In a new chain, of course, you're going to get your Ku Klok added to hand. That way that welcome that you set can be activated. And remember, the one card that you're missing is going to be the last card that you're going to get access to, which is going to be Silver Castle, which is the only lab card that you didn't have in this setup. So again, Ariana resolving essentially lets you play for the rest of the duel. But Ariana with Ku Klok lets you play for the rest of the duel faster, which is really, really strong. So you'll welcome into her. And now you're very, 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 very golden, which is really, really strong. You'll be able to pop a card off of the Labyrinth. And you can now set up and take these two, shuffle them. And often you get Trap Trick, so you can always get back to Engine. And something else that's really cool which I'm just going to show it in a separate combo. I'm going to show it in the separate combo. But yeah, often you go like Trap Trick, and most of the time because Daruma Cannon's so safe, it's like the safest like normal trap. I go for Daruma. And that is like literally it. Like if you've even gotten to the point where you're playing on turn 3, you're winning on turn 3. Because like this is the deck, like the way Labyrinth functions is like it's the deck that you just have to kill. Like you cannot allow this deck to establish anything. You cannot allow this deck to play. And like if it resolves multiple cards from its engine, like especially if I'm able to pick up a card like Silver Castle and chain her effect to a trap, like it's already too little too late. So this is a deck you have to stop early. And because you have to stop it early, that means you have to pick up the correct cards early. So if you don't draw the right hand traps or draw the right non-engine early, it's just really unfortunate that this deck Snowball is not just about advantage. It's cards that do something all the time. So now what happens if we add one additional card to that same sequence? It gets pretty bananas. So the card that we're going to add in mine now is going to be a card that makes the entire dynamic of how this structure works just crazy. Like this is one of, not like the best, but one of the best combos you can open with going first. So with Ku Klok and Ariana, so like you can Ariana to grab Big Welcome, you Ku Klok, set your Big Welcome, you can Chain Lady whenever you want to. Now you're going to activate Big Welcome. And what you're going to do here is you're going to Chain Lady to set regular Welcome from your deck, resolve Big Welcome, summon out your Silver Castle, and you're going to go ahead and bounce your other Silver Castle. So you're going to summon out Lovely and bounce Lady. Back to hand. Trigger her effect to snipe for 1. You can use her effect, target Big Welcome, set it back. And what you're going to do is you're going to pass on this during your opponent's draw phase, because you're going to go like absolutely bananas. What you're going to do is you're going to activate Big Welcome, and you're going to go ahead and just chain your lady whenever you want to. You could chain it now. And Big Welcome, what Big Welcome specifically is going to do is something gnarly. Is it's going to summon Stovey Torby and bounce the Stovey Torby. And it's going to trigger your Lovely to then rip another card, Ariana to draw, and this is going to get pretty crazy. So what's going to happen here is you're going to chain block always. And since like they can't ash your traps, they can still ash the draw. So you still would go chain link 1, chain link 2. Very, very strong. You draw a random card. We'll just take a card and put it there. Right? Lovely's going to pop. So this is hand loop for 2. You can consistently hand loop for 2 with this deck. What you're going to do next is Stovey Torby, discarding the random cards you drew off of her effect. And you're going to set a very strong card. Very, very strong card. You're going to set Labyrinth Barrage. This is my replacement for, what's it called? Transaction Rollback. This is also so strong that even if I had Rollback, I would still play this. Especially for this sequence. New Chain Ku Klok. This Welcome was set during your turn. So this is live already. New Chain Ku Klok to add. Discard the Ku Klok. And now what you're going to do is like go absolutely bananas. You're going to go activate Welcome, Chain Barrage, Chain Lady to the Barrage. Lady can go ahead and set yourself a Trap Trick. And you're going to get double summon. And this is where like the deck is just absolutely bananas because you can do whatever you want. The Snowball doesn't stop because you can still, for example, summon out Shane Dragolier. And you can summon out a card like Arius. And where Arius comes into play, where it becomes like impactful as a disruption, not just as an engine piece, is if the card that you drew off Ariana was a trap. you can just use the Arius to send himself to set that trap so it could be used. And this is like a different build that I'm showcasing you guys as well. This is the trap trick build, which capitalizes heavier on the bonus draws of Ariana and Ariane and Arius. And just in general, the furnitures go crazier. So this is like bread and butter. This is where the deck can do whatever the heck it wants. It's very, very, very strong. However, if you don't want to be greedy and go Labyrinth Barrage to like double summon, you could easily summon just one of the two, Shane Dragolier or Arius, or you could even just summon for just more random draws, like if you're trying to dig for hand traps and like different advantage. Like economically, a random draw at this point sounds better because you can already guarantee all the engine that you want. So if you summon Ariane, she can also net you another draw. And this is so that the trap trick you set off of her can be activated this turn, because the Ku Clock would give you the barrage to double summon. So it's just to show you the options that you have, which is really strong. However, if you weren't gonna double barrage, like you could still have barrage there live, because it's really, really powerful. Like even on the crackback, you can also get Labyrinth setup, but Labyrinth setup is always safer to set like during your opponent's in phase, you know? So this is already a really strong setup. This trap trick is live. So you could trap trick into like an IDP or a Durama Cannon. Anything that is defensively strong enough to buy you another turn. Oftentimes, Durama Cannon ends every turn in every deck. Like, the only decks that can keep playing past that are decks that can fusion summon, because they can use the face downs. But a lot of decks, when you let them hard commit into like 5 bodies and you Durama them, it's just, what can they do? So now we can talk about like what happens when you actually are playing the furnitures. So a niche interaction that should be very well known by now is like how Ariana is only susceptible to cards like Veiler and Imperm turn 1, but if you open her plus Shane Dragolier or Stovey Torby and Big Welcome, you can easily play around it, which is really, really strong. So if you normal Ariana and they Imperm her, you can chain, discard for cost, and then chain Big Welcome to bounce her. And go ahead and set your regular Welcome. And in a new chain, the Shane Dragolier would get added back to your hand. If it's Stovey Torby, it'd be more crazy because that's a body on field that you don't necessarily have to like save it to set another card immediately, because it's going to come back regardless. So that's already a free body, and your Ariana will resolve, which means that you go ahead and grab yourself a copy of Ku Clock, discard your Ku Clock. Now this Welcome can be activated, and you can just activate it immediately and get even further into more engine. Now, with this particular scenario, this is basically a Yama combo, which is really strong. So what we'll do here is we will summon out the Silver Castle, the lovely, simply because like we're gonna secure follow-up in the process of the Yama combo. So you're gonna target the Welcome and set it. Here is where it gets kind of crazy. You link these off in the Yama, and if you want a full combo, if you don't have any other random cards to set face down from your hand, you can pop the same Welcome, that lovely set. And the reason why that's safe is I'll show you now. You Yama into your Shavara. Shavara, pop that set, link off, and go into Rage, and then set your escape. And this gets you a ton of advantage, a ton of it follow-up, like resources flowing so well in your graveyard. And every card you see in the grave is going to come right back to you, boy. Set your escape. You have Ariana already guaranteed, so through impermanence, you full comboed, got follow-up, really, really strong. What you're going to do now is you can just flip your escape at any time on your opponent's turn, targeting the Soul of Rage. And because you Welcomed, don't forget that you're Fiend Locked, so you can't SP Little Knight your opponent, but you can still Rage them. And what's going to happen here is the normal trap's going to cause this monster to leave the field. So now you're going to get Rage, Yama, Welcome, Stovey Torvey, which is more than enough. This can come out, your chain block. Yama's going to bring back your your Silver Castle, your lovely. And because this is like on res, she's still going to trigger on a new chain, which is kind of broken. The Welcome gets set. This is there. You have everything that you need, everything you want. Which is just crazy. And this is if you want this line, because when you're Fiend Locked, sometimes like the Soul of Rage linking off one monster is just not as powerful as getting her back up immediately, because her popping a random card in hand or field is always more diverse than just this card linking with your opponent's monster. So oftentimes when you take this line and you're locked off of Welcome, it is so much stronger for Yama to bring this card back than it is to bring this card back, because you're really not doing that much with this card at all. It takes a card, but like your opponent has to be able to play for them to summon, and like you're trying to be as proactive as possible with this deck, and like of course reactive as well. So the Welcome is set. You can at any time use this, pitch those, set yourself a big Welcome. That already is going to be able to deal with the card because it gets summoned on red, so in a new chain it can activate. And in addition to, if you don't want to time it that way to do it right away, you can just wait until when you want a Lovely. And a new chain Cool Clock comes out because you furnitured, and what you're going to do is just add it to hand and then discard it. And now this trap is live, and so is this one, which is really, really strong. And obviously this is like the one that you want to resolve, which is just crazy. So you can just big Welcome, and you can go ahead and big Welcome yourself into a Silver Castle, bounce it, pop another. It's just really crazy how this deck operates. So yeah, what about when you don't like open Ariana at all and you're going first? Let's see where I'm at on time. Okay, dang, it's already getting really deep. It's already 21 minutes in. Okay, I guess we can't go over every combo. We're 21 minutes in. Okay, so we're going to go into going second combos. So my favorite 3-card interaction in this deck is Silver Castle plus any one of the Welcome traps and my Butler. This is the best 3-card combo in this deck in my opinion, because it functions going second to do anything the deck wants to do, and going first it's very, very prominent as well. Arguably more prominent than Arya, because like Ariana plays into Impermanent Veiler, whereas this specific line going first does not play into Impermanent Veiler. You could set any bluff face down so that she cannot be impermed, and even if your opponent ashes the trap, you chain the Arias anyways, and you have 2 bodies to convert into a Yama. So through Ash, you convert into a Yama, which is really, really, really powerful in my opinion. Like, it's pretty crazy. And it's like just safer into a lot of disruptions. Even going second, Arias to set a trap and then chain Lady, and like being able to get Arias back means like Typhon. It means so many things. It's the bread and butter 3-card combo. It's not as much mileage as like Furniture plus Coup Clock, but it's the only way that you can activate 2 traps on your opponent's turn consistently, especially going second. So the better one is obviously big because it triggers the Lovely. So you go Arias into big on your opponent's turn. You new chain activate her. You could even chain her to Arias. And then you're going to flip the big. You're going to chain Lady. And oftentimes, to guarantee that I don't die, if I'm not on the Trap Trick build, I go straight for Daruma Cannon. Reason being is because this is the only card that's going to make sure my opponent cannot combo at all. It's going to blanket their disruptions, and it's going to make them play with only hand traps a lot of the scenarios. And then it's going to resolve to summon the Lovely. This is going to get bounced. And you're going to trigger Lovely to also take a resource from your opponent and start your turn off really strong with being able to effectively just blanket all of their hand traps. So this is really, really strong. And in addition to that, if you want to Daruma Cannon your opponent immediately, feeling that Lovely is not as valuable, again, and you feel like you just need to live for a turn, you just summon out the Coup Clock and bounce it to hand and discard it. Now you can activate your second trap on your opponent's turn. However, this like combo varies just a little bit differently if it's Welcome, because like now you don't have the option to summon Silver Castle and pop a card if you want to. But this is like also better when you know you're planning on Daruma Cannoning them anyways, because it gives you a little bit more mileage, because instead of just summoning Coup Clock and bouncing it, you summon Ariana and use her effect to instead grab the Coup Clock. And that is a little bit better for mileage, and it's less crackback because Big Welcome Engrave is always going to pressure boards whenever you like start your turn off after you've played your engine on your opponent's turn and you interacted with them. You're starting your turn with bodies. cards like Big Welcome Engraved, Furniture in Rotation, it's a lot easier for your resources to just like be fluid and be able to convert into what you need them to convert in the moment. Whether it's Typhon cards like Yama, whether it's Muckcrackers and Chaos Angels, or just flat out just beating them down with your cards like an untargetable Silver Castle, a lady, like she's broken in a lot of matchups. Like it's all up to you, but you can add Ku Klux off of her, and then you can Duruma Cannon your opponent. And this is like guaranteed safety net, guaranteed follow-up. Very, very powerful to have Welcome and Arias Engraved. And to start your turn off just like this. It's really, really good. It's not as crazy for follow-up. Not as crazy, but it's still pretty strong. Because Yama still becomes Escape, and Escape still triggers your Welcome, which is really, really good. And it also, Yama is a way to guarantee yourself back into Ariana. I still feel that Big is superior because it allows you to not only have the option to summon Lovely and Pop if you don't need a Duruma Cannon, but if you just want a Duruma Cannon, bouncing back your Ku Klux to hand is not that terrible. And like it means that you're playing on your next turn with Big Engraved, which is a pretty big deal because it's safer, it's a little bit stronger, and it means like your Yama might not resolve and like you still are okay to get back into the game because like this card in tandem with Furnitures and your Welcomes, like I can't even tell you how many times like I've had scenarios just like this where like I don't really have that much going on at all. I've just been fighting for my life, and this is like the bread and butter situation that Labyrinth players want to be in whenever they're grinding, is just having cards like these engraved and then just going. I've done it so many times to my own Typhon. I've like had my Typhon where I'm just like grinding and I'm like, I got ashed. Well, I'm playing a turn behind. So what I'm going to do is Big Welcome back my Typhon so I can Typhon them again. And then I'm going to trigger this to set, these two to add. And then I'm going to immediately just go off, set whatever trap I want to, or set Field Spell, like literally, so I can go bananas. And then New Chain Ku Klux, add, pitch it. And then now this is live. Activate. I'm going to pop a card. I'm going to reestablish myself. I just fought my way back into the game just because I had Big Welcome Engraved and the right resources. So this is why it's also like imperative to prioritize sequencing your plays to get the right names in your rotation. Rotation's like a really weird name to say, but fundamentally what it means is like your follow-up is more powerful when you have like made sure that you prioritize getting the right cards into your setup. So like when I showed you the scenario where Ariana plus Ku Klux could turn into more advantage if instead of disrupting your opponent, you just summoned all your different name bodies. If you guys followed that, it's imperative for a reason because like your comeback mechanic in this game is a lot the comeback mechanic in this deck is a lot more powerful when you've set up all of your furnitures. And this plus this, like plus the Silver Castle is like better to get every name, but like even this plus this still allows you to get access to multiple furnitures while establishing like a hand loop and pressure, which is really, really powerful. And you continually just draw cards and like get so much resources. I will show you guys like one of the most aggressive combos this deck has, which is just very similar to Ariana, except it's like this. So when you have Ariana instead of Ariana and a spare trap to discard, the same combos that convert Ariana like are a lot stronger. So like Ariana plus Ku Klux is crazy. So Ariana pitch a trap, summon out Ariana effect, get whatever trap you want. Like you can fiend lock yourself if you want to, but if you want to keep all of your bodies, like you're gonna grab Welcome. And this is how you like get the biggest Yama push you can get. Ku Klux, set the Welcome, activate it, and what you're gonna do is you're going to Welcome out like a furniture, or you're gonna Welcome out this baddie right here, and you can set the Welcome back so that way when you combo, it's safer in the nib because even if your opponent nibs you, you have Welcome for follow-up to keep playing. What makes Big Welcome a little bit different and stronger is it doesn't fiend lock you, and it allows you to net a +1 by drawing off of the Ariana. And all you have to do is instead of summoning the Lovely, you Big Welcome into a card like Lady, summon her, and then you get the effect of Ariana to draw a random card, which is economically stronger. The Big Welcome is engraved, so that's a disruption on your opponent's turn. You're going to summon her off of her own effect, and then here's how you're just going to convert. You're going to go off into Yama, go Yama effect, grab yourself a copy of Shavara. This is a random draw, and you're just going to Shavara, popping your own popping your own lady. You're going to link off into the link 2, go effect to set your escape, and you're Gucci. This is a lot of disruptions as well. Like, don't underestimate this. Plus the random draw, all you have to do, and you're not Fiend Locked, so you can actually SP Little Knight off of the Solar Rage. So you can just escape them, pop, and because that's a normal trap, you're going to get some crazy stuff going on. So here's what's going to happen is you're going to go Yama and Rage. And so, like, with your Rage, it's going to come back. Yama is going to go ahead and target the Silver Castle, and the Silver Castle gets summoned. And now you can big welcome them whenever you want to, and you can go into SP Little Knight. So that's not like how you maximize your follow-up. That's how like you can maximize your disruptions, like to get the absolute most. Now again, like this combo variance, and I don't always do it the same. Sometimes I do it this way, but I only do it this way when I already have a guaranteed way back in the engine. If I don't, then like going for regular welcome into the Silver Castle is just a little bit stronger because it gives you more follow-up. It's a little bit better. It's a little bit safer. And even if you don't feel that way, like you can still summon out Silver Castle when you have the twins out. You have to sacrifice one of them and you're going to have to commit a little bit more. But this line is really good when you have a random face down that you can spare. Like, and that's where it becomes not like the 2-3 card combo. It becomes like a 4-card combo, but that's how this deck plays. It plays with 3 to 4 cards often. So when you have that scenario where you've coup clocked and big welcome out her, you're always going to bounce back Ariana. Get your random draw still. So you're still going to plus pretty hard. This is Engrave. This is not actually going to set this just yet. But what you can do is the normal trap that you set off of this can be set off of her. Because what you're going to want to do is like pop it with your Shavara. Because like oftentimes when you've gotten this far, you're not guaranteed to have another trap to just set and pop. So sometimes you have to use your Silver Castle to set the fodder for Shavara. But if you already have the fodder for Shavara, then heck yeah, you set your big welcome. You link these two off. You go into your Yama, grab your Shavara, pop your spare that you can afford to lose. Link these two off, which is still safer in a nip because of big. Go into the link 2, set your escape, and now you're looking really, really juicy because now you're ending with big and escape. So you have a guaranteed way back into engine, which is pretty obnoxious and strong. At any time you want to, you can just escape them. But you can also start off pretty strong by going into a big play, but I really don't often do that. I like to just use my Unchained cards first, make my opponent play through them, and if they can, then I use my lab cards. So you pop him, it's the same initial line. Yama's going to bring back the link 2. The escape is going to be able to target the coup clock. You add the coup clock to hand since you're not using furnitures to actually get it back. Sorry. You're going to add it to hand. This guy comes back out. So you're chilling with coup clock and him. Escape is gone. Bop. You can big welcome whenever you want to. Just pretty freaking strong. It's just crazy. And also, like, if the SP line is not that great, you can Yama back your Silver Castle. And, like, you can then, with getting the coup clock back off of the link 2, like, your big can then just do this. Summon the Silver Castle. I mean, not the Silver Castle, I'm sorry. Summon the furniture and bounce it. You'll still be able to hand loop your opponent again. And now you can just go furniture, pitch, set a welcome. It's just crazy how like you can change and diversify what you do so often with this deck. And then you coup clock and like now you're live to go for a welcome play. Like it's all based on like how you telegraph what your opponent's gonna do and like what you prioritize. But the fact is, everything this deck does can change in a heartbeat. And it really is going to give you whatever you need in the moment you need it, which is why I love this deck so much. So that's not every combo. I think I'm going to show you how to beat Ash and Bell really fast. Okay, we're 34 minutes in. All right, so what we're going to do, it's very simple. It's a 2-card combo. Well, it's 2 cards that let you beat Ash, but you still have to be able to play. So in order to beat Ash, you're in Bell, like to set up. Like I'll show you the setup first. And then, you know, all you have to do is be able to play after that in order for this to be worth it. Because if you don't have engine, then you just use your Ariana to get to engine. But whenever you have a play that you need to resolve and, like, you can spare it. These two cards are very nifty, and they're interchangeable. Like, this Ariana could just be the Lovely instead, but it's always better. So you Ariana into Lovely and Arius to summon the Lovely. And now if you have, for example, a Ku Clock and a Trap, Ku Clock and a Furniture, you know, Furniture and a Ku Clock is like obviously like literally like you're committing your whole hand. And it is like a lot higher ceiling simply because of the follow-up. So like if you just have a random card to discard and Ku Clock, like it's asking for a lot. But Labyrinth, oftentimes when it wants to function, does ask for a lot. That's why you play a lot of Engine. You can play no Furnitures at all and just play a bunch of hand traps. You can play no Ku Clocks, no Arias, and play more hand traps. But like its Engine's powerful enough that the risk is worth it because the reward's so much higher. So you just Ku Clock, discard a Furniture, and now you're not losing to Ashes or Bells for the rest of the duel. Set yourself a big welcome. Hopefully don't pop that bell that they can't use. Pop another card that's worth it. New Chain Ku Clock is going to go ahead and actually get summoned so that it's a free card to bounce off your big, and you're just going to big welcome. And since you already have Furnitures in rotation, you go ahead and get out your Silver Castle so that you can immediately start snowballing. And you're going to bounce your Ku Clock, which is just broken. And you're good. Like, you're getting her effect to pop a card in your opponent's hand, and Stovey's coming out. And, like, this is insane because your Unchained combo is going borderline uncontested. Like, you can use her to set the big welcome so that you're safer into Nib. But what's also cool with this kind of setup is, like, with big welcome in grave and Ku Clock in hand and this, all you have to do is big welcome one of your Fiend monsters and literally, or even one of your opponent's monsters, and literally this Stovey Torvy's coming back, and it in tandem with Ku Clock is going to be a free trap activation on your opponent's turn to keep playing anyways. But it's always safer to secure the back through Nib, set your big, and you're golden. You're going to full combo, do what you want, hand loop for 2, play around Ash and Bell the entire time with an Arius Engrave, which applies pressure because cards like Impermanent Veiler, you know, you can just chain it, get it back. It's just really, really strong. So, yeah. If you guys were wondering how, whenever you have Engine and you have it to spare, my list maximizes on Arius and Ariana. I have the highest probability of opening these because of how I've chosen my ratios to play out. So that is the only way, really, that this deck with Engine can be Ash and Bell without, because oftentimes you have to use the traps to summon her out, which means you lose your way to beat Ash and Bell early if they have them. So the fact that that's a neat trick that this deck has, it makes Arius that much better of a card, that much stronger. And honestly, like, this is a line you have to understand. Like, you have to keep it in your back pocket because it's a lifesaver, and Ash and Bell are oftentimes the only cards that can prevent this deck from playing. Once this deck gets going, it's really not going to be able to be stopped at all, bro. And it's able to do anything it wants to do. With the vast diversity of normal traps in the game and all the cards it can summon, when it's not Fiend Lock, it can put 5, 6, 7, 8 bodies on field in one turn. You can do anything you want to do with this deck, honestly. God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't let your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I will continue bringing you guys the best content I can and just helping you guys to stay sharpened and polished to be the best duelist you can be. Peace.